The Newton 9/11 Memorial Committee and the City of Newton held the annual 9/11 commemoration at the 9/11 Memorial in front of Newton Fire Headquarters. Jenn Adams brings us the highlights.
It was 18 years ago on that unimaginable day of September 11th, where nearly 3,000 people were killed when two planes crashed into the World Trade Center buildings in New York City. Another plane crashed into the Pentagon, and another in a field on its way to Washington, D.C. 6,000 others were also injured. The Newton 9/11 Memorial Committee and the City of Newton held its annual 9/11 commemoration and started by remembering the events of the day.
At approximately 7 a.m., three terrorists leave the Park Inn in Newton to board American Airlines Flight 11 in Boston. At 8:46 a.m., Flight 11 crashes into the World Trade Center North Tower.
At 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 crashes into the World Trade Center South Tower. At 9:37 a.m., American Flight 77 crashes into the Pentagon. At 9:58 a.m., the South Tower collapses.
10:03 a.m., United Flight 93 crashes in Pennsylvania. Passengers and crew launch a daring counterattack against their four hijackers. Minutes into the counterattack, the plane crashes in a remote field and thereby spares an intended target, likely the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower collapses.
The heroic efforts on September 11th came at a great cost. More than 400 first responders died that day. Of those 400, 343 were New York City firefighters, and 3 were emergency medical technicians.
37 Port Authority police officers were killed, as were 23 police officers from the New York City Police Department.
8 people from Newton died that day and were remembered and honored by friends and family sharing their stories.
Mark Bavis, age 31. Having played 4 years of Boston University ice hockey, Mark was entering his second season as an amateur scout for the Los Angeles Kings when he died on a United Airlines Flight 175.
Paige Farley Hackle, age 46. Paige died on American Airlines Flight 11 on her way to California to speak to producers of a spirituality-related radio program that she hoped to host, and to visit Disneyland with her friend Ruth and Ruth's 4-year-old daughter, Juliana. Ruth and Juliana also died on United Flight 175.
John Nicholas Humber Jr., age 60, with a degree in mechanical engineering from Rensselaer and a master's from Wharton. Nicholas joined the newly created EPA in 1971 and co-founded the National Waste to Energy and Recycling Program. His work then focused on wind-generated energy, fuel cell technology, and sustainability. He died on Flight 11.
Aaron Jacobs, age 27. Aaron worked at Cantor Fitzgerald, as a colleague of my friend Stu and his brother, in the North Tower of the World Trade Center. He loved New York as he jogged through Central Park, tasted its ethnic restaurants, and taught skills to the needy. Aaron traveled widely, and he and his fiancée thought they might honeymoon on an African safari.
My brother, Stuart Todd Meltzer, age 32. We grew up in Newton. He played Little League Baseball here. He played for the Post 440 as well. He loved sports and all things having to do with Boston sports. He would have been very proud to see the Red Sox and Patriots do what they've done over the last few years, along with the Celtics and Bruins. He was on the 103rd floor of the North Tower, and he was able to get a call off to his wife shortly after the plane struck, telling her something horrible had happened and he wasn't going to make it home. Please take care of the children. We love and miss you, Stu.
I'm Irene Ross, and I'm just going to speak about Richard's legacy. Richard was my brother, Richard Barry Ross, and he was always late. But this morning he was not late. And he called his wife very upset that he didn't have more time with her, and it was just very sad. But I just want to tell you very quickly about Richard's legacy, which is pretty terrific. He's got 3 great kids. Abigail travels all over the world, buys art for people, works with a very high clientele, very knowledgeable. Her mother is an artist, Judy Rotenberg. Allison has, by the way, Abigail has 3 beautiful daughters and a terrific husband. Allison is married, lives in Paris, has 3 gorgeous little kids. And Franklin is still single, but hopefully not long. Okay. And that's Richard's legacy. That's Papa Dickie. So on an up note, we miss him dearly and wish he was here every day of our lives.
My aunt, Ramasali, who is 28 years old, her husband Mickey, and their unborn child. My family is from Sri Lanka, but Rama grew up in Japan and moved with her family to Newton. After graduating from Wellesley College, she was CEO of a local firm, and from all the stories I hear about Rama, she was very successful at almost everything she did. Rama and her husband died on Flight 11 on their way to a wedding in California. Rama was 7 months pregnant with their first child.
Amy E. Toyin, age 24. Amy was in the World Trade Center on September 11th for a trade show when her fiance Jeff received a phone call from her cell phone at 8:58 a.m. He saw Amy's caller ID, but then the call ended. Amy's father said, "We had just ordered her wedding dress." Amy was so happy in her life, a woman in love who loved her job.
After 9/11, many people's lives were changed, and many stepped up to fight the war on terror.
In that moment, many brave men and women chose to serve and defend the country that they love by joining the military and or re-enlisting. The events of September 11th impacted their decision to serve. The anniversary of September 11th has evolved into a national day of service and remembrance to keep the spirit of unity and compassion that arose going strong.
That strength is embraced each year on the anniversary of 9/11.
Tonight, 18 years later, we still feel compelled to gather, honor, pray, and remember all the souls that left us that day.
18 years later, we are here for you. And look at how many of you are here to do this. Your loved ones are in our hearts. You are in our thoughts.
The 9/11 Memorial is located in front of Newton Fire Headquarters and is a place where anyone can go to remember and find solace. Jenn Adams, Newton News, Newton Center.